What's going on, chat? Welcome back to the stream. Let me just get myself situated here. But welcome back to our stream. This is a part of our essentially daily live streams where we stream every day during the week at 8 p.m. Eastern, and on weekends we stream on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So welcome back. Let me just get myself situated here. I'll allow some of you boys to hop into chat. I know we didn't stream yesterday, and I apologize for that. I just had something pop up that I wasn't able to stream yesterday, but it's not really like any news came out anyway. This week has kind of been a slow week. So yeah, let me just get this thing charged. 1 second, fellas. All right, that goal's created. We're all good. Okay. Welcome back to the stream, boys. So, as I said, I apologize that I wasn't able to stream yesterday, but something just came up, and yeah, there really hasn't been any news anyway. And even still today, there's not like much news, to be honest. Obviously, it is fight week. We have this upcoming card between Roman Dolidze and Fluffy Hernandez. And as I said before, I mean, this card is probably not going to be great. On paper, there's some okay names. There's probably like two okay fights, main and co-main. Outside of that, really not much. Honestly, really not much. Oh, Miller, welcome to the stream, and thanks so much for the donation. I really appreciate that. Thanks so much, man. Let me give you a heart on that. I'll give you a like. But as I said, welcome to the stream. As I said, but yeah, I mean, for this week, it's really just not much in terms of news. Really, the only news that we had was both Dricus and Khamzat went on to interviews, and Khamzat was basically saying he wants to be the triple champ, which, you know, honestly would be a little bit difficult to do just because he has a little bit of a tough weight cut down to 170. I mean, he's already missed weight a time in the past. And at this point, he's put on more weight and put on more muscle. So we'll see how that happens. And then moving a weight class above 185, it'll probably be a little bit smaller, or maybe a lot smaller than everybody else. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how this fight goes. And yeah. I got Fluffy, bro, but I'm worried Dolidze is going to kind of badly in grappling. Listen, I agree that Fluffy is most likely going to win. Most likely, how this fight plays out is round one and round two are going to be the only rounds where Roman Dolidze has any sort of chance. In Fluffy's past couple fights, we've seen him get hurt to the body in the first round, actually in both of their fights. And Dolidze does hit hard. He doesn't really set things up very nicely, but he does hit hard. So maybe he can land a big shot in the first round or even on the ground. He does have really good jiu-jitsu, so maybe he can find a submission. But once you get to that third round, if Fluffy's able to make it there, I think he's good from that point. So how I think the fight's going to go is round one, Fluffy's going to find a takedown. He's going to get in good positions. Maybe Dolidze will threaten with some submissions, but for the most part, Fluffy will stay safe. And once you get to that tail end of that second round and the beginning of the third round, I think we're going to see a very tired Roman Dolidze. And from that point, Fluffy will just pull away and find the victory, probably by decision. That's how I kind of see the fight going. But I do agree with you. Roman has very, very high level of jiu-jitsu. Definitely is something to worry about for Fluffy, but I think Fluffy's good, most likely. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. Thoughts on Yuri versus Roundtree? Yeah, I've talked about this a couple of times. I really do go back and forth on this one. Both of these guys have been, you know, very good. For this fight, how I think it's going to play out is honestly, I just think whoever lands first is going to find the finish. Both these guys hit ridiculously hard, both Roundtree and Yuri. I know Yuri is probably going to be on the pressure for the majority of the fight here, but at the same time, Roundtree has shown a good job at fighting off his back foot, utilizing a lot of leg kicks in his last fight versus Jamal Hill, and I think in this fight versus Yuri, that could also be big, as Yuri doesn't really deal well with leg kicks. And also, I think he's more technical. I think Roundtree is more technical. So honestly, I do see paths to victory for Khalil Roundtree, but it's a close fight. Honestly, whoever lands first is probably going to win. But if I had to say, honestly, I think I lean Yuri. I think I lean Khalil Roundtree, which I feel like most people disagree, but we'll see. John, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. Do you ever watch Lucas Tracy when he live stream? I don't. I haven't. Does he do good live streams? Yeah, I haven't really watched him. What do you think his ceiling is for Fluffy? Personally, I don't know. Personally, I'm not that high on Fluffy. He does have that sort of Marab style where he just shoots a million takedowns, scrambles very effectively, outgrapples a lot of his opponents, and once you get to that second or third round, you really start to gas out. But in my opinion, I feel like his striking isn't amazing, and also he does seem a little bit fragile to an extent to me. As I said, in his last two fights, he got hit to the body and hurt to the body, and I do think that once he levels up and once he fights better competition, guys are going to be able to sniff that out a little bit better and land bigger shots to the body, whether it's body kicks or even just right hands to the body. And I think eventually it's going to catch up to Fluffy. So in my opinion, I think he beats Delitse. But when you look at some of the rankings, and once Fluffy starts to fight some of the higher level competition in that division, like let's say Caio Bahalio or Rinner DeRitter probably is a really tough fight for Fluffy. Or Khamzat Chimaev even, or Amavov or Dricus. I just think those guys are going to be able to deal with this high pace and high pressure of Fluffy, stop takedowns, land big shots to the body, big knees, big shots to the body in general, and I think they'll beat him. So I guess my ceiling for him is I think he beats Delitse. Maybe he beats one more guy that's a little bit higher up in rankings, but I think there's a lot of fighters at the top end of that weight class that would beat Fluffy personally. I think he can beat Caio and Adesanya. Adesanya, I could see it. I could see it. I could see him beating Adesanya, but it's a close one to me. Just because Adesanya has shown some pretty good takedown defense, and at this point, I know a lot of people think Adesanya is washed. I personally am not there yet, 100%. I just think his reactions and his chin is not there. That's what we saw in some of his more recent fights against Dricus and also against Amavov. But against Fluffy doesn't hit that hard. And yes, you could outpace Izzy and he could gas him out. I wouldn't be shocked, but Izzy has shown some pretty good takedown defense. And if Fluffy is stuck on the feet with Adesanya, I do think Adesanya could do some good work, good leg kicks, good body kicks, good shots up top. So interesting fight, but I definitely could see him winning that fight. And against Caio Bahalio, I think it's a tougher fight for Fluffy personally, because even if he takes down Caio has great jiu-jitsu, and he hasn't shown the same gas issues as Roman Dolidze has. So I do think it's kind of a tougher fight for him. But I wouldn't be shocked if honestly he beat either one of those guys. One time Lucas Church's live stream last year, yes. Just for next Unbelievable, John. But good call out. It makes sense now. They're putting it together. So good matchmaking on you. Because he's not bad. Oh man. He's a big Kopylov guy. Yeah, Kopylov he's exciting to watch. He's very fast on the feet. He's very skilled, great body kicks. But I think he's been exposed one too many times where Paulo Costa was able to just pressure him. That's why if you guys watch my live streams going into that card and going into that fight between Kopylov and Paulo Costa, I thought Paulo Costa, if he fought the way he should have, which is, pressuring him and landing big shots, I thought he could have won that fight. And that's actually turned out to be exactly what he was able to do. So great fight by Costa. And for Kopylov, as I said, I really just think the way to beat him is out. Just pressure the guy, shoot in for takedowns, and he'll gas out and you'll beat him. But we'll see. I agree. I think that that's true too. He is a little bit small. Yeah. Yeah. I talk about this a lot. Physicality is super important. Dricus is a perfect example of this. Obviously, you have to have skill, and Dricus is skilled, obviously. But he's the most physical guy maybe in the UFC that he's been able to get away with so many mistakes. But a guy like Fluffy, who's not really that physical, you need to be perfect for an entirety of a fight, whether that's 3 or 5 rounds. And this fight against Lite is going to be 5 rounds. But physicality is just so important. And I do agree with you. The fact that he lacks physicality isn't great for him going forward, but he does have his lane. He does gas guys out. He does shoot in for a million takedowns. He does have an amazing gas tank. And he has, at least up until this point, has shown a good ability to be successful with that sort of style. As I said, I just think once he gets to that higher level competition, and theoretically, if it was ever Dricus versus versus Fluffy, I really don't think it would go well at all for Fluffy. But we'll see. We'll see where his career goes from here. What's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. Dricus will take Chimaev out. I think he will. I actually agree with you. I think he will. I think how the fight plays out is first round, 10-8 round for Khamzat. Round 2, maybe Khamzat wins as well. But starting in round 3, I think Khamzat will start to tire. I think Dricus will get on the gas. I think he'll land a lot of shots, a lot of body kicks, a lot of body jabs, a lot of body right hands, tire out Khamzat. And I think round 4 or maybe round 5, Khamzat will be very tired at that point. Dricus will continue to push the pace, push a very high pace, and maybe even find a finish. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think he's going to, one-shot him, knock him out cold or anything like that. But I do think that due to exhaustion alongside with the power that Dricus has and the pace that Dricus can have, I do kind of think he's gonna win, and I wouldn't be shocked if he finds a finish late. But yeah, that's how I see that fight going. Lerone will finish Pico. We'll see. I'm personally on the other side of this. I know some guys in my chat were also on Lerone. Lerone's a good fighter. He definitely is a good fighter. I just think stylistically it's not a bad fight for Pico personally, with his wrestling and the fact that he has a lot of power. The one thing about Pico is he hasn't shown an amazing chin, and I think that's one of his downfalls. But with Lerone Murphy, he doesn't hit that hard. So I think stylistically it's not a bad fight for Pico. But obviously, guys that came from Bellator / the PFL to the UFC have not been having success as of late. So maybe Lerone will get it done. And also, Lerone is very good. I don't want to say he's not. He's very good. So we'll see how it plays out. Dricus needs to survive the early storm. Yeah, I agree. That's really it. If Dricus can survive round 1, I'm fairly confident he's going to win the fight. And I think, honestly, he'll find a finish as well. Really, the first round is going to determine the fight. If Khamzat gets a finish round 1, a submission or ground and pound, whatever, obviously he'll win. But if Dricus can survive round 1, I really think he has a great chance of winning. I think he will win, actually, if he makes it out of the first round. But we shall see. Dricus versus Ankalaev. Ooh, that's an interesting fight. That is interesting. Dricus moving up after this. Yeah, I could see that. We'll see what Dricus decides to do. He is very big for middleweight. He can definitely move up to light heavyweight if he wanted to. But I think they were doing, or not. I think it's already official. They're doing Imavov and Kaya Bahalio as a #1 contender fight. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dricus stayed at the weight class and fought the winner of that fight. I think he beats both guys. I really think Khamzat is the one guy that I think can give a lot of trouble and problems to Dricus. But if Dricus is able to beat Khamzat, I think he beats everybody else at that weight class. I really do. I think he beats Imavov. I think he just pressures Imavov. The thing about Imavov is he's a good fighter. I do favor him against Kaya Bahalio. The thing about him, though, is I think the way to beat him is out, honestly. I think Strickland did a great job at showing the blueprint on how to beat this guy. Just pressure him. If you're able to pressure him, take some of his shots, land some shots of your own, maybe incorporate some takedowns within your game, you're going to gas the guy out. And once you get to the 3rd round, 4th round, he's going to be really gassed, and you can potentially find a finish from there. But we'll see. We'll see. That's why I think, personally, Dricus is a terrible matchup for Imavov. Dricus is super aggressive. He'll pressure Imavov. He'll land a lot of big shots, and I think he finishes him. So I think he beats him. He already beat Strickland a couple times. He already beat Adesanya. RDR versus Dricus will be a hilarious fight, but I think I lean Dricus, honestly. I think he's just a little bit more refined. De Ridder is solid on the ground, or actually very good on the ground, but on the feet he's a little bit more open than Dricus is, and Dricus is pretty open at times. But I think Dricus's game is a little bit more put together than RDR is. But RDR is also probably even bigger than Dricus. So we'll see how that fight goes if that ever comes about. That'd be a hilarious fight. Dricus versus Kaya Bahalio. I definitely lean Dricus. Dricus versus Whitaker. He already beat him. Cannonier, he would beat him, but I don't think Cannonier will get a title shot again. But what are you going to do? We'll see how it plans out. Imavov will KO Kaio. Yeah, I think so. I kind of lean that way as well. As I said, the way to beat Imavov is kind of just pressure him, land a bunch of shots, and tire him out, and maybe find a finish late. But I don't really think Kaio is going to be able to do that. He doesn't usually pressure guys. He's usually on the back foot, and that's kind of playing into Imavov's game. So, what are you going to do? Um, Spivak versus Kuniev is being rumored. Spivak versus Kuniev. Probably Kuniev. Interesting fight. I will say one thing about Spivak, though. In his last fight, I do think that he looked pretty good, honestly, like better than normal when he lost to Acosta. What's his face? Yeah, Waldo Cortez Acosta. I thought he actually won the fight, and I thought he looked pretty good. So we'll see, but I think I probably lean Kuniev in that one. Money, 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 money. DDP sucks, just like you. Thanks, brother. Thanks for joining. Um, but yeah, yeah. I think I lean Kuniev in that one. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how it plays out. But yeah, what do you guys think about this week's card? It's not great. It's definitely not great on paper. I say this all the time, but sometimes fight cards turn out to be better than they look on paper. But for this week, I really don't see too many fights that I'm too excited about. The main event could be fun, could be interesting. Co-main event with Steve and Ode Osborne, I think that will be fun. I think Steve gets Ode. I think he finishes him. I really hope he does, because for Steve Erceg, I feel like he's a good fighter. He's just kind of been on a bad trend. He's fought 3 of the best fighters in the weight class. He lost a really close fight to Pantoja, which there's an argument he won. He lost to Moreno in not that close of a fight on the scorecards, but I thought it was a pretty close fight. And then he just got caught by a really powerful puncher in KKF. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still high on Steve Erceg personally. I still think he's going to be a legitimate contender. I think he's better than Ode Osborne everywhere. I think he finishes him. But we'll see. Ode is explosive and powerful, so we'll see how it pans out. I wish Fluffy versus Elite was on 319. That would be nice. Yeah, that would be nice. That would honestly bolster the card and just make it that much better. I think the card already is really good. The main card is fun. Khamzat, Dricus. Then you have Lerone Murphy Pico, Jeff Neal Prates. That's going to be a banger. Probably the fight of the night. Either the main event or Prates Jeff Neal. Then MVP versus Jared Cannonier, Tim Elliott versus Kai Sakura. That main card is really fun. But yeah, if you added Fluffy and Delete to that main card, or even, I mean, honestly, I guess there's an argument to be made. Maybe you can even put that as the headliner of the prelims. That'd be really fun. But yeah. But it's for this card, whatever. But I guess it's one fight that we can look forward to. I swear if Erceg does another one for us, yeah. Yeah, it sucks. I don't know what to say, man, because honestly, as I said, I really think Erceg's a great fighter. I really do. He's kind of just running into some of the better guys. I personally, I don't remember if I made a video about this or not, but going into that fight week between KKF and Erceg, I was ridiculously confident that Erceg would win. It was actually a max bet for me. And then he gets knocked out in the first round. But I know this is like ridiculous to say, because that's kind of how KKF wins. He lands a big shot and he knocks out his opponents. But I really do think that Erceg was kind of setting up nicely. And if he didn't get, I mean, this is a ridiculous thing to say, but if he didn't get caught in that first round, I think he would have won the fight. But as I said, that's kind of ridiculous thing to say. But skill-wise, I think Erceg is way more skilled than KKF is. But that's just how the fight played out. So what are you going to do? But if Erceg's able to win this fight versus Ode Osborne, he'll get back on track. Right now, Erceg is, where is he in the rankings? He's number 10 in the rankings. He may move up a spot or two. Probably won't move that much. But then after that, he'll probably have another fight against a legitimate contender. This probably is a tough fight, but maybe they do Almabaya versus Steve Erceg. If Erceg wins, that's a tough fight for Erceg. I would like to see him get a little bit of an easier matchup, but I wouldn't be shocked if that's the fight they put together after this, if Steve does win. Or maybe they do Amir Albazi just pulled out. I don't think he has another fight book, so maybe they do Amir Albazi versus Steve Erceg. That'd be fun, and that'd be a good step up in competition for Steve, at least step up in the rankings for Steve. But we'll see. That's kind of the fight that I want to see, because I think it's a very winnable one for Steve, but we'll see what they do next for him. Assuming he does win. He definitely should win, but you never know. You never know. He could get caught and just get knocked out. But we shall see. But yeah, but besides the main and co-main, what else we got on this card? Andre Fili versus Christian Rodriguez. I mean, that could be interesting. Not a fight that I'm super excited about, but it could be interesting. Gene Masamuto versus Miles John. It's not a great fight. Eric Anders versus CLD. Not a great fight. Maybe a finish for CLD, although I'm not high on him. Julius Walker's on the card. He'll probably find a finish. Julius Walker's like a little bit he's a little bit raw, but he's very athletic and he does show some pretty good things. So I'm relatively high on Julius Walker. We'll see what he does in this one. I fully expect him to win. He's fighting maybe the worst fighter in the UFC, but we'll see. We shall see. Elijah Smith's on the card. He's a good prospect. We'll see how he does. And Cody Brundage on the card. Whatever. Yeah, it's kind of just like a whatever card, but hopefully it turns out fun. But yeah, I mean, I will be doing a watch along for this card. I know it's not an amazing card, but if you guys are interested, join the stream. We'll be doing it for the entire card for this upcoming weekend. We'll talk about fights, and we'll do whatever. We'll obviously react to fights live and see how everything plays out. Hopefully, we get a good results for the weekend. I was at CLD versus RoboCop live. The fight was bloody as fuck. Yeah, that was a fun fight. Yeah, that was kind of annoying for me because at that time, that was a little bit ago, but at that time, I was using a professional better to take some plays, and one of the plays he had was like a max bet in CLD versus RoboCop. I never thought I was honestly never that high in CLD, and that fight kind of proved that he wasn't that great. And ever since that fight, he because honestly kind of got dominated. Ever since that fight, CLD hasn't looked that great. He has like decent skill, but I just don't think he's a great fighter personally. He doesn't really have the physicality. It's not there all the way, and his skill is solid. But if you really, pressure him, get in the inside, you can land big shots and you could finish him. But that fight was good though. CLD and RoboCop. RoboCop has been in a lot of good fights. One of my favorite RoboCop fights ever was him. Of course, it was in the Apex, but it was him versus Cheaty. That fight was insane. Where I don't know if you guys have seen it. Maybe you have, but he had like a ridiculous cut right here. Like literally, you could see his bone. And I believe it was in the second round or the third round, whatever round it was. But if I think it was the second round. But if the fight got to the corner, they would have stopped the fight. But RoboCop comes back, finds a finish against Cheaty, and just an insane win for RoboCop. So that's probably my favorite RoboCop fight. But he's ridiculously powerful. He looks pretty good. His striking is solid. He's a little bit slow, but his striking is solid, and his power is unmatched. So a lot of really good things from RoboCop. Really fun fights from RoboCop. They should have done RoboCop versus Piper next. That would be a fun fight. Yeah, I agree with that one. Yeah, a boost. I don't really get either. They're just kind of giving Joe Pyfer a victory, I believe. I don't know. Maybe some guys are high on a boost. Round one, a boost is good, but after round one, he gasses out badly. So I think probably how the fight's going to go is round one's going to be fun. I think a boost may land some shots, maybe some body kicks, some shots up top. Pyfer will probably land some shots, but once you get to round two, if they do get there, Pyfer's going to take over, and he'll most likely find a finish in the second round. It's just Abus's gas tank is non-existent. And I know Pyfer's last fight was kind of a weird performance between him and Kelvin Gastelum, but I don't know. It was kind of just a weird performance. I'm still pretty high in Joe. He hurt and dropped Gastelum in the first round, and then after that, it seemed like he just decided to not fight anymore, which is kind of weird. But as I said, I'm still high in him. He's very powerful. His striking is solid. Even has decent grappling as well. So we'll see where he goes. I'm assuming he'll beat Abus, and after that, I don't know. We'll see who he fights next. But yeah, I agree with you. Joe Pyfer versus RoboCop probably would have been a fight that made more sense, and honestly, the fight itself probably would have been more fun. Although, as I said, the first round of Abus versus Pyfer is most likely going to be great. So we'll see. But yeah, where is honestly, the only thing that I can think of at this point is Abus is ranked and RoboCop is not. So maybe they wanted to give a ranked contender for him. That's the only thing I can think about. That's probably it, honestly. Did you see I got fired? Oh, you got fired? Oh, man. I'm sorry. Welcome to the stream, first of all, but I'm sorry that happened, man. Yeah, I mean, listen, it happens to all of us. Don't be too down on yourself. Obviously, it's not your fault. It's maybe just budget cuts or whatever it was. I don't know, but there'll be more opportunities. I know it might not feel that way in this job market. It's not amazing, but um, there'll be more opportunities. But just keep looking, man. That sucks. I'm sorry that happened. Gotta go, bro. Have a good day. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks for joining the stream. Oh, thanks, man. Thanks so much again for the sticker, the banana. I appreciate it so much. Thanks for the donos and thanks for the questions and being here. I really appreciate it, man. Peace out, brother. Sorry, man. I was trying to. Yeah, it's a tough job market, boys. I'm sorry about that as well, John. Yeah, it's just tough. It's tough. I was far. If that's the case, then maybe it might have been your fault. But don't jump to conclusions. Maybe not. Maybe not. That might have been my fault. But yeah, don't jump to conclusions. Honestly, that's G shit. So good for you. John's confused. Oh man. But yeah. The boss gave me carry pop, so it's still unclear. Yeah, honestly, yeah. I mean, you know, with those sort of situations, you'll either get a raise or you'll get fired. It's one of the two. So I guess you got fired for it, but never jump to conclusions. But yeah. But yeah, it's kind of the card we got for this week. What do you boys think of next week? You guys excited? I think it's probably the best card of the year on paper. Best main card on of the year on paper. Dricus, Khamzat, Lerone Pico, Jeff Neal Prates, Cannonier MVP, Tim Elliott versus Kaya Sakura. It'll be fun. Honestly, I think all those fights are fun. The only fight that I could see that may not be fun on the main card is Cannonier versus MVP. Because how I kind of see that fight going is I think Cannonier is not going to have success at range versus MVP. Really, nobody does. So I think Cannonier is going to pressure and clinch a lot in that fight, land a bunch of knees and elbows on MVP, and win the fight from there. That's kind of how I see the fight going. So I think that one could be boring. But for Dricus Khamzat, that's going to be cinema. For Lerone Murphy Pico, I think that's going to be high action, very fun fight. Jeff Neal and Prates, I think that's probably going to be the fight of the night. It's going to be a bloody war. Both of these guys are willing to go for it. Jeff Neal is always on the front foot, getting on that inside boxing range, landing big bombs, taking some shots while he's at it. And Carlos Prates is always in fun fights. So that'll be great. And Tim Elliott versus Kai Sakura. Tim Elliott's not the most exciting fighter, but Kai Sakura is. So I think that's going to be really fun as well. And I think Kai Sakura is going to win that relatively easily, but should be interesting to see how that one plays out. On the prelims, I mean, the prelims are all right. I think the main card is great. Best main card on paper of the year, I think, unless I'm forgetting about something obvious. But the prelims are just like okay. Bobby Green versus Diego Fajeda is kind of a whatever fight. I think Bobby Green or King Green probably should retire at this point. He's looking a little bit washed, in my opinion. Chase Hooper versus Alexander Hernandez, it's fine. Barbosa versus Shakar Close, that'll be fun. Brian Battle versus Ruzaboyev, that'll definitely be fun. That's probably the best fight in the prelims. Ola Jacek versus Gerald Mearshark. Mearshark will be half asleep in the first round, and if he can survive, he'll come back and probably win. But I guess that could be interesting. Andrade versus Lupi Godinez. I mean, women's fights are usually never that fun, but that's probably kind of a fun one for a women's fight. So I don't know. The prelims are fine. Nothing amazing. It was a coin flip. Very good. Very good. But yeah. So 319 is looking to be pretty solid. That's the other thing I wanted to do. Let's check out this week in terms of potential betting opportunities. I looked before. I mean, most of these fights, or a lot of these fights, are going to be very heavy favorites. There's a lot of prospect. It's kind of a prospect card. There's a couple of really good prospects here, which will most likely win. So they'll be heavy favorites. I don't think there's going to be much value there. But just looking through it, I'll full screen this. Just looking through it, what do we got? So on the prelims, I really don't see anything. All these guys are huge favorites, and I think it's probably fair. I think Elijah Smith is a legitimate prospect, and it's kind of a layup fight for him. I think Julius Walker, as I said, he does a lot of good things. He's not the most put together fighter at this point, but he's very athletic, and he has shown some pretty good things, and he's also had some time in the UFC to make improvements to his game. So I think he gets the victory. Jocelyn Edwards, I think, is actually kind of a solid fighter, so I think she wins. Fernandez, I mean, I don't know. If you want to take a shot here, maybe, but most likely Fernandez wins. And the Doctor Medic, I think, wins as well. CLD, I think CLD wins, but I said before, I'm not too high in CLD, so if you really want to take a shot on Eric Anders at plus 400, you can, but Eric Anders is washed. So I'm probably not going to do it. I think Matsumoto wins the fight. C-Rod, I think, wins. If you really want to take a shot on Andre Fili, you can, but I think C-Rod probably wins. Urseg wins, but he's a minus 590. And honestly, the best value on the card is probably Roman Dolidze at plus 265. But even then, as I said, I think Fluffy probably wins the fight. Let's see props, though. Props are out. Steve by submission? Wow, that's weird, actually. That's weird to me. Listen, I could see Steve definitely grappling in this fight. Ode is essentially has non-existent grappling. Steve will have the advantage on the ground, but it is kind of weird to see the most likely outcome of this fight is Steve Ursig via submission. I probably would have leaned with TKO. Maybe you can take it at plus 320. What's Steve by finish? It's probably minus 145. It's not amazing. Maybe I'll take Steve by TKO. And what do we got? And maybe I'll take a shot at under 2.5 rounds at minus 150. It's not amazing for a flyweight fight, but I do think Steve kind of has Ode covered everywhere. So maybe you can do that. And then for the main event, probably the only thing I'm going to try is Dolidze by submission, which is good value. Plus 1,200. This is probably the only thing I'll touch in the main event. Total rounds, I'm not touching that. And yeah, so honestly, I'm probably not going to bet this week. There's really not much that I see in terms of value, but if you had to bet this week, those are really the only few things. Dolidze by submission at plus 1,200. Steve Ursig by TKO. You could do finish, but probably TKO at plus 320, I believe it was, and under 2.5 rounds in that Steve Ursig fight at minus 150. That's kind of all I got though for betting wise for this upcoming weekend. But yeah, for the weekend after that, though, for UFC 319, there's actually some good value. Oh, we have a PFL card this week. Amazing. What do we got? Anything of interest? No, not at all. Not in the least bit, at least to me. Nothing for the PFL this week. But let's see 319. What do we got value wise for 319? Because I took a look over it a while ago and I actually saw some good value. I think there's value here in Ruzaboyev. I think Brian Battle's a good fighter, and I think he's a better fighter than Ruzaboyev is. But the one thing that I will say about Brian Battle is he does get hit a lot, and Ruzaboyev is going to be a lot bigger than Brian Battle. He's also very physical, hits really hard. So I wouldn't be shocked if Ruzaboyev finds a finish here. And a plus 152 might not be a bad bet. So maybe value there. This value jumped. Initially, Barbosa was, I think, a minus 140, which I think would have been a good value. But at minus 170, maybe not as much. What else? In terms of value, what I'll probably end up doing is I'll probably end up taking Gerald Meerschaert via round 2 or round 3 finish. That's kind of what he does. If he gets finished in the first round, he gets finished in the first round. But he's usually half asleep in the first round. But once you get to round 2, he starts to come on, grapple a little bit more, find some submissions if they are there. And round 2, 3, Gerald Meerschaert is honestly usually a solid bet, unless he's going up against a really good fighter. But in this fight versus Olajaychuk, I don't really think he's that. So I'll probably take a shot round 2, 3 for Gerald Meerschaert. Um, this fight, I'm not going to touch. I think Diego Ferreira is going to beat Bobby Green or King Green. I kind of feel like he has him covered most, probably everywhere, honestly. Kai Sakura, I'm confident he'll beat Tim Elliott, but maybe I'll take a shot on Kai Sakura by TKO if that's any good. Cannonier, fuck. It's getting closer. Initially, Cannonier was a plus 150. Now he's a plus 136. It's getting closer. I'm honestly very surprised he's the underdog. I'm very confident that he'll win the fight. So even at plus 136, at any plus money, I think I'm definitely going to take Jared Cannonier. As I said, I think probably how that fight goes is he pressures MVP, puts him in the clinch, lands a bunch of knees and elbows, and finds a decision victory from there. It's not going to be that fun of a fight, but I think that's probably how he wins it. So I like that. Prates, I'll probably take Prates by finish if it's any good, but knowing how he fights, it's probably not going to be great. Here, I think I'm probably going to take Pico. I'm surprised Pico is the favorite. I was fully expecting Lerone Murphy to be the favorite, but even though he is the favorite, I think stylistically it's a good fight for Pico, so I might take that. And then Dricus, I'll definitely take Dricus money line as well as round 4 and 5 finish props for Dricus du Plessis. So that's kind of how I have my slate. We'll see what some of the other props are for this card when it does come out. Obviously, it's way too early at this point for props for 319 as it is not this weekend, next weekend. But whenever it does come out, I will I'll give you guys updates on what props I like or what bets I like, and we'll do that. So that'll be good. But yeah, as you said, for anybody joining in late at this point, I am doing a watch along for this upcoming fight card for Delitse and Fluffy Hernandez. I'll be doing the entire card from the first fight of the prelims to the end. I know on paper it's not a great card, but these couple watch alongs that we've done together have been really fun. I've been enjoying them, so I'll be doing one for that, as well as the Contender Series. The Contender Series is back. It's starting on Tuesday of next week, and I will be doing a full watch along for that as well. So we'll see some prospects coming up. I've talked about this a lot, but the heavyweight division is in shambles, and I believe there's a heavyweight fight on that Contender Series fight this Tuesday. It's either this Tuesday or next Tuesday. So, we're desperate. We need more heavyweight contenders. So hopefully we get a good contender for the heavyweight division added to the UFC. At least at this point, it seems like most of the potential contenders at the heavyweight division just come up short against some of these ranked guys, or honestly even some of these unranked guys. So we'll see if we can ever find a legitimate contender at the heavyweight division. But at this point, it doesn't seem like we have many options. That's kind of why I said we should have signed Francis Ngannou, or not we, but the UFC should have signed Francis Ngannou. But it really seems like Dana's just not going to do it. He's holding a grudge against Francis, and he's just not going to do it. But we'll see. We'll see if we ever have any hope for that weight class. Jerry, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. Good images, Murphy. Yeah. Listen, as I said, I do think it's a good stylistic matchup for Pico. I think the wrestling is going to be big. Also, I think the one downside, I mean, there's more than one, but one of the bigger downsides for Pico was his chin. But Lerone Murphy doesn't hit that hard, so stylistically, I think it's a good matchup for Pico. And also, Pico is going to be significantly more dangerous than Lerone is. So we'll see how it plays out. As I said, I'm leaning with Pico, but Lerone is skilled, so we'll see how it pans out. Do you think John Jones is coming back? If I had to say, probably not. By the way, welcome to the stream, brother. But probably not. The only hope that we'll have if we are going to see John Jones is the White House card. I think that can be said for both John and Connor. And both John and Connor are back in the testing pool, which is a positive for both of them, which does kind of say they are at least somewhat serious about coming back to the UFC. And I think they have both shown interest. Well, they definitely have both shown interest, and they definitely both want to be on that White House card. So if we're going to see him, it's got to be on that card. And I think, at least from John's perspective, it makes sense. And maybe even for Connor, because for the White House card, you're going to need to have Americans on that card. And outside of John Jones, there's really no Americans that I see as legitimate title contenders. Maybe you can say Sean Brady, but I'm not that high on Sean Brady personally. I know he's looked pretty good in some of his fights. He dominated Leon Edwards, but I'm personally not too high on him. And outside of Sean Brady, there's really nobody. So if the UFC was going to put on a White House card, they're probably going to at least want to have a someone from the U.S. in their main event. So I guess that could be John Jones versus Tom Aspinall, or John Jones versus whoever else. It's probably going to have to be Tom Aspinall. I know he's been ducking him forever, but if he wants to come back, it's probably going to have to be Tom. And for Conor, I think it could make sense as well, just because for Conor, it could be him versus Michael Chandler, and obviously Chandler's American. So maybe, but if I had to say, most likely no for either one of those guys. I actually just put out a video today about Conor. If you guys haven't seen it, be sure to check it out. But I was kind of just outlining Conor's career and where he's gone at this point. But yeah, I'll plug my channel real quick. But yeah, I just put out this video today. So if you haven't seen it, be sure to check it out if you have any interest in it. But yeah, I don't really think they're coming back. Do you think Alex Pereira should go for heavyweight if he loses to Ankalaev? I don't know. I really well, yes. I think the answer is yes, but I really think the best chance that we could see Pereira moving up to heavyweight is honestly if he wins. Because if he loses, that'll be 2 fights in a row. He is getting a little bit older at this point as well. What is he, like 37, 38? So I wouldn't be shocked if he lost to Ankalaev, especially if it was like a very dominant loss or even a finish, a TKO loss. I wouldn't be surprised if Alex Pereira retired. I don't want him to. I mean, he's a very entertaining and exciting fighter, and he's also been a really successful fighter as well. But if he loses again to Ankalaev, as I said, I wouldn't be shocked if he retired. But if he wins, I think he does move up to heavyweight. If I had to say. 305, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. What's going on, JM? JM, thank you. But yeah, we'll see what happens with our boy Johnny. Yeah, I'm just excited, honestly, for Dricus and Khamzat. That's the fight. We wanted to see Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. That didn't happen. We wanted to see Ilia Topuria versus Islam Makhachev. That didn't happen. At least yet. I think that could happen. But at least yet it didn't. The third fight on that list was Dricus and Khamzat, and we're getting that one. So I'm excited for it. It's the highest level fight in the sport at this point that's actually getting made. I think the actual highest level fight in the sport would be Ilia Topuria versus Islam, but considering that's not happening, at least now, it's Dricus Khamzat. Do you guys think Ilia versus Islam is ever going to happen? I think there's a real path to it happening. If Ilia beats whoever he fights next, which I think he would, the only 3 guys that I think he could fight next would be Arman, which honestly at this point it does seem like Arman may get that fight, but it would either be Arman, Patty, or Gaethje. It's got to be one of those 3 next for Ilia. I think he beats all of them, but the toughest one out of the 3 is definitely Arman. So we'll see, but I think he beats all 3 of them. And then for Islam, if he beats JDM, then I think we could potentially see Ilia versus Islam at 170. Ilia would be very small for 170, but he's shown interest in doing it, so I wouldn't be shocked at all if he moves up after winning one more fight at lightweight. But we shall see. But what do you guys think? Do you think that fight's actually going to happen, or you think we're just not going to get it? It's possible we don't get it. Let's see if he does test the one. Does he beat Tom? I don't think he beats Tom. I don't. Similar to, listen, Ciryl Gane and Alex Pereira are not the same fighter, obviously not. But I think they both have a similarity that Tom Aspinall is just so much better than them in the grappling that, if they were to fight, he's just going to take them down and submit them. I know Pereira is huge, and honestly, so is Ciryl Gane. But they have, at least for Gane, he has shown to have not great grappling, as John Jones just took him down easily and submitted him immediately. And I think Tom Aspinall does the same to Ciryl. And for Alex Pereira, I think a similar thing happens. If the fight was on the feet for the entirety of the fight, I do think Pereira has a chance. Even then, I mean, he's fighting a much bigger guy in Tom Aspinall, but I do think he has a chance. He's obviously very powerful. He'll add more weight. He'll probably hit harder. And and he's very skilled, obviously. But I don't know. I think Tom beats Alex. I'm fairly confident in that. But for Curtis Blades, I think Curtis Blades also beats um, Alex Pereira as well. But there are some contenders that I think Alex could beat. Let's look at the weight class. Could he beat Volkov? I do. I think Pereira could beat Volkov. Could he beat Sergey Pavlovich? I do. I think he could beat Sergey. Could he beat Almeida? That's probably a tough fight. But if you can somehow stop takedowns from Almeida, he'll win the fight. But I'll say Almeida will beat Alex. Could he beat Waldo Cortez Acosta? 100% he could. Could he beat Tybura? Yes. Spivak? Yes. There's a lot of guys that Alex could beat. But Tom is a tough fight. But we shall see. What heavyweight would you like the UFC to sign next? Francis. I've said it a million times. I really want them to sign Francis. Outside of him, I don't even know. What are the other options? I don't think the PFL has anybody. We'll see about this 49ers fullback that's coming up, Voigt or whatever. Roy, I don't remember his name, but he's going to be on the Contender Series this upcoming Tuesday, or the Tuesday after that. It might be the Tuesday after that. We'll see how he looks. Listen, the heavyweight division is desperate for contenders, so whoever we can get, we'll take it. But I've said this a million times. I really want the UFC to sign Francis. Francis versus Tom is a legitimate good fight. I think it's a real 50-50 fight. But we'll see. Video idea, best underdogs. Ooh, that's not bad. I'll write that down. You mean like best underdogs, well, like the biggest underdogs to win fights, or you mean guys that are underdogs that are the best fighters? I'm assuming it's the first one. I'll write that down. Yeah, I'm kind of I'm like really ahead at this point. So I know some of you guys give me video ideas, and I don't post those videos for a while. Like the weight cut video was given to me really far back, and I just posted it like last week. So if I don't post this video for a while, don't think I'm not going to do it. I'm just very ahead at this point, so it'll probably be out in a few weeks. But yeah, I want to see. Oh, Fahad, that's a good one, actually. That's actually a good one. Yeah, I mean, the chances probably aren't that high, especially considering, like, I think the PFL at this point is in a spot where they just cannot pay Francis Ngannou. He fought once in the company and he almost bankrupted them. At least that's what it seems like. So I don't think they could financially afford to pay him to have him fight, honestly. So I don't know. If Francis is not fighting, who else are they going to have at the heavyweight division? It's probably going to be Fajeda. And I think he's a pretty exciting fighter. He has good striking. He's, I mean, obviously he's not on Francis's level. I don't think he's on Tom's level either, but he's an interesting fighter. He's a fun fighter, dangerous, very athletic. And I'd like to see the UFC at him. But yeah, I don't know what the chances are either, honestly. Ngannou sleeps Tom. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. He hits really hard, and Tom has been caught with some shots in the past. He usually has his chin up pretty high, so wouldn't be shocked. George Magnus came in, future champ. Ooh, that's a good one. I will. Thank you. Antiba's a new Ngannou. I agree. Yeah, I just put out a video the other day about Antiba. I do think he's the next Ngannou, but he's like very technical. I mean, we've seen guys that are really powerful and really athletic that don't go that far. But the thing about Antiba is like he's very technical, even if he has his opponents hurt, and that's really the big thing that I love about him. And I think he's going to be very good. I think he's going to be a real contender. Do video on best unranked prospects in the UFC. That's a good one. I was actually going to make a video. I don't know why I never did this. It's kind of a similar thing to what you're saying. I'll write it down, by the way. Best unranked. Prospects. I will definitely do that. But I was going to make a video about Andre Lima specifically because he's an unranked guy, and I personally think he's going to be very, very good. But for whatever reason, I didn't make that video. So maybe I'll just do best unranked prospects as a whole total video, and I'll have Andre Lima on that video for sure. I'm very high on Andre Lima. Yeah, I think Ngannou would smash Tom. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. That's a great fight. I mean, listen, they got to sign Francis. I mean, it's actually, listen, I know Tom has no title defenses, but he's already beaten a lot of the heavyweight division, and I think he will beat everybody in this weight class. I really don't think anybody poses a huge threat. The only guy, I know it sounds funny, but the only guy is Derek Lewis, because Derek Lewis can just land a big shot and knock Tom out. But skill-wise, Tom is significantly more talented than and skilled than Derek Lewis is. But outside of that, I really don't see anybody else. So San Francis, it makes the division interesting. You're right about the age factor. Wait, what? You're right about the age of it. Were you surprised when he beat your Oscar? Alex Pereira, you're saying? No, I wasn't actually. I picked Alex to beat Yuri both times. I think stylistically it was a really good fight for Alex. Yuri, even going into that fight and some of his previous fights before fighting Alex, he has shown a propensity to take a lot of leg kicks and have trouble with that. So I thought going into this fight against Alex, who has one of the best leg kicks in the UFC, maybe the best, it was going to give a lot of problems to Yuri. And the other thing with Yuri is he's very wild and he's very powerful, and that danger factor led him to have a lot of success against a lot of guys. But I just thought going into both of their fights, I have a video breaking this down actually before both of their fights. I just thought Pereira was just too skilled and had too much knowledge of striking that he would be able to find Yuri and land a big shot and finish him. And he was able to do that in both fights, even easier in the second fight. The second fight between Yuri and Alex was such a ridiculous domination. Yeah. And for the most part, like what I was saying about the age factor was I think Pereira may retire if he loses to Ankalaev because he's getting older. But I don't necessarily think if Pereira decided to continue to fight, he won't be good because he's getting older. I don't really think that. That's more common in the lower weight classes. But at the higher weight classes, it's not as common. So I don't think the age factor is going to play into it that much. I just think the only way the age factor plays into it is I think he could retire. That's kind of what I was saying. But yeah. Example, DDC. Yeah, all right, that's a good idea. Yeah, who are consistent underdogs? DDP is a great one. He's probably the best underdog as of late that I can remember. I don't know. There's got to be some more names. I guess Chris Duncan. That's kind of a weird one, but Chris Duncan has been an underdog in his last 3 and won all 3 of them. So he's a decent underdog. Make videos about the worst injuries in the UFC and fighters. Ooh, that's not bad. I'll write that down as well. Thanks for the video ideas, boys. No shortness of videos. Worst injuries in the UFC. I don't know. What's number 1? Connor. And some of those. What was the other one? One second, boys. 1 second. All right. Thanks for the video ideas, by the way. MB, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. Did you watch Khamzat's interview? I didn't watch the whole thing, but I saw some clips of it where he said he's going to be a 3-division champion, or he wants to be, or he is going to be, I guess, according to him. So I did see that. What else did he say? I don't know. What else did he say? I don't know. I actually didn't watch the interview. What do you think about MMA Joey? I know everybody hates MMA Joey. I don't watch his content, and I don't follow him on X or really see many of his posts. So whatever. I really don't have an opinion on him, but I know everybody hates him. So that's kind of funny. A few weeks ago, someone was shot. Oh man, that's hilarious. Actually. Oh man, I think it's very unlikely that it happens, but I guess if it does, that's something to look forward to. Hasn't Bilal been an underdog in a lot of fight? Yeah, Bilal's another good one. Bilal is a really good one as well. So yeah, it could be a good one. Do you believe Dominic Reyes beat John Jones? I do. Yeah, I do think so. But he got the loss, whatever, and he got knocked out a bunch after that, lost a bunch after that. But at this point, it's pretty cool to see he's getting a main event, not title, but he's getting a main event slot versus Carlos Ulberg for UFC Perth. And if he wins the fight, he's going to get a title shot. If Dominic Reyes beats Carlos Ulberg, especially by finish, he's going to get the title shot after Yuri or Khalil Roundtree. His next fight will be for the title shot, I should say. So it's pretty cool to see that that resurgence from Dominic Reyes. We'll see how he does in this fight. And even if he wins, I guess we'll see how he does in his title fight. But it's pretty cool to see him have as much success as he's been having as of late. Silva. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that was a bad one. The fact that Dillashaw won the fight, I know a lot of people think that Sandhagen won. He probably did, honestly. But the fact that that Dillashaw even made that close after blowing out his knee like that is pretty impressive. Silva and Weidman's leg. Yep. I guess Connors can be added to that list as well. Honestly, I'm just going to take a picture of this. There we go. Thank you. And the G-Rod thing. Yeah, I was talking about the G-Rod thing before. Honestly, that was insane. That was insane. You could literally see G-Rod's bones. And probably the craziest thing about that is he won. He won that fight. He literally had to get a finish in that round. What was that, like the second round or third round? Whatever it was. He had to get the finish. If he didn't get the finish, they were going to stop the fight because the cut was ridiculous. And he got the finish on Chidi. So great performance from G-Rod. But yeah, that injury was ridiculous. We got some yeah, maybe. Honestly, probably, most likely. That's most likely what happened. But yeah, his motivation's back, and he's doing well. I hope he wins his main event versus Carlos Ulberg. Khamzat said he'll go back to 170. There's no way he's making that. Yeah, he's not making that weight. Yeah, I did see, as I said, I did see that clip or post on X or whatever of him saying that he wants to be a 3-division champ, and obviously a part of that 3 divisions would be 170. I don't see him making it either. I mean, even before, it was a tough cut for him to 170. He made it to 178 versus Bilal. Or not versus Bilal, but Bilal had a great line about that when he's like, I'll fight anybody. I'll even fight Khamzat at 178. That's really funny. But yeah, he was having trouble cutting weight then, and he even missed weight once. So at this point, Khamzat put on a lot more muscle. There's no way he's being able to cut down to 170. And even if theoretically he somehow was able to make the cut, he's going to be too drained. You think he gasses out now? He'll gas out ridiculously bad if he cut down to 170 at this point. So he can't make that cut. And even for light heavyweight, he's probably too small. I don't know. I don't think he'll be as effective with his wrestling at that weight class. Well, honestly, maybe he will. There's not too many wrestlers at that weight class, so maybe he will. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see what Khamzat's able to do. He has to get past Dricus first, and as I've been saying, I kind of think Dricus is going to win. Yeah, Dillashaw's a dog for a fight with the tournament. Yeah, honestly insane. Regardless of who you think actually won the fight, I know a lot of people thought Corey. The fact that he was even in there is insane. And even in the Aljo fight, he definitely shouldn't have fought. But regardless, I mean, he knew he had shoulder issues. His shoulder was popping out like a million times, and the fight had popped out a couple times, and he still decided to fight anyway. Yeah, TJ Dillashaw is definitely a dog. Any predictions for Alexander Volkanovski versus Movsar? I don't, honestly, it's unfortunate. I don't think we're ever going to see this fight because I think probably, I'll give you my prediction, what would have happened, but probably what would have happened is for Movsar and Pico, because I think Movsar would have won that fight, and then we would have seen Movsar versus Volkanovski. But the fact that Movsar had to pull out, I don't think the UFC is going to do him any favors. I think they're going to force him to fight again. And how I see Volkanovski's career going at this point is I think he's going to fight the winner of Lerone Murphy and Pico. Win or loss, I think he's going to retire after that. There's already been some videos going around about Volkanovski talking about he doesn't know how much time he has left in the UFC, and also that he loves his underdog story the last time where he lost the belt and was able to get it back, but he doesn't want to do that again. So if Volkanovski loses his next fight, he'll definitely retire, and we won't see the Movsar fight. But even if he wins, as I said, I think there's a chance he retires. So I don't think we'll see that fight, but if I had to give it a prediction for it, I do lean with Volkanovski. At this point, I think what Volk really struggles with is guys that are super athletic and hit really hard. And for Movsar, he's not really that. He's very skilled. His striking is very good. His his grappling is top notch. But I think Volkanovski is also ridiculously skilled. His striking is even better than Movsar's. And on the ground, yeah, Movsar is probably a better grappler overall, but Volkanovski has shown a great ability to stop takedowns and get back up once he does get taken down. And he was able to show that against a much bigger fighter in Islam Makhachev, who's a great grappler for one. And for two, honestly, he's even big for 155. That's why he moved up to 170. So I think Volkanovski would have won the fight via decision. But as I said, I don't think we're going to see it, unfortunately. We'll see. Movsar, honestly, there's a real world where Movsar really gets effed over here. Because, as I said, the winner of Pico and Lerone is going to get the title shot versus Volkanovski. At least I'm assuming that's what they're going to do. And then if Gene Silva beats Yair Rodriguez, which beats Diego Lopez, which I think he is, I think he's going to get the title shot after that, just because Gene Silva is a very exciting fighter. He's building somewhat of a fan base for himself, and the UFC usually likes to reward those type of guys, and they don't really see Movsar as an exciting fighter. So two guys might fight for the belt before Movsar does, which is unfortunate. And then if Movsar loses his next fight, then he may never get a title shot. It is kind of ridiculous because I do think Movsar probably should have gotten a title shot even before the Aljamain fight. And especially after he beat Aljamain, he definitely should have gotten a title shot, but the UFC just keeps passing up on him. So it's unfortunate. I don't know what to say. I mean, like, he's on a 19-fight winning streak. I agree. Listen, he should have gotten a title shot a while ago. Definitely should have got a title shot after beating Aljamain Sterling, but they just continued to let it go. And unfortunately for him, he had an injury. But I really think that could have a huge role in his career. If he somehow loses or whatever, he may never get a title shot, which is unfortunate because, as I said, he definitely did deserve it. Prior to his last win, so it's unfortunate, but we'll see. Maybe he gets lucky and he somehow finds himself a title shot, but honestly, not too confident in that at this point. I think there's some guys that would be ahead of him. The only way that he can get a title shot relatively soon is if Lerone wins and then he fights Volkanovski and then Volkanovski wins and retires. Then you could see Gene Silva versus Movsar Evloev for the interim title. I think that's possible. And if that does happen, honestly, I would like that. That would be a really fun fight. What's next for Kamaru Usman? For Usman, what I want is, I don't know if this will happen, but what I want to see is Usman versus Bilal. A number one contender fight for Usman. How crazy would that be if he gets another title shot? Or maybe even gets the belt. How crazy would that be? So I would like to see Bilal versus Usman. I think it makes a lot of sense. Bilal's coming off a loss. Usman's coming off a win. It's a legitimate number one contender fight. If Usman beats Bilal, he'll definitely get a title shot. And also, they have a beef. They have their beef. So that's what I would like to see. And I think it makes sense. But there's some rumors about Bilal fighting Shafkat or some other guys. So we'll see. Do you think Big John deserves more credit? As a ref? Yeah. Big John McCarthy. He's probably the best ref ever. I actually want to make a video about this on reffing and judging in general. Probably be two separate videos. One about reffing, one about judging. But I don't know. I honestly have a big problem with both. I actually just made a video today or yesterday about Jason Herzog. Listen, Jason Herzog at one point was seen to be the best ref in the UFC. But at this point, there's a lot of rumors about him rigging fights for betting lines or whatever. I don't know if that's true or not. But the one thing that I will say is a lot of the results of Jason Herzog fights have been very, very bad. There's been a lot of examples of that, just like weird stoppages, way too early or way too late. Or even when you look back at his Song Yadong fight versus Henry Cejudo, very weird how he decided, that fight would play out. Cejudo got fouled and lost the fight essentially because of it. Very weird. And Wei Li versus Yang Jianan is another one where Wei Li got the submission. Yang Jianan was literally out, but Herzog just didn't stop the fight. I don't know. A lot of weird scenarios from Jason Herzog. And honestly, a lot of refs in general. And judging as well. Judging has not been great. So Big John McCarthy is one of the good ones, and he definitely deserves credit. That fight needs no promotion. Yeah, I agree. That'll be good. I could see that being one of two things: either the main event of a fight night or the co-main event. Honestly, more likely it'll be the co-main event of a pay-per-view card. That's probably what I would that I could see that as. But we'll see if they put it together. I would really like them to. Do you believe that DC? Do you believe what DC said about John Jones? For the right time. Yeah, I mean, probably he did have some favorable matchups for sure. There's no question about that. So, I mean, probably there's some credence to that. But honestly, I know a lot of people aren't a fan of John Jones, especially after him ducking Tom, and you know, as a person, he's not great. But I kind of think John's great, and whoever he would have fought, I think he would have had a lot of success. It's possible if he fought certain guys, he would have had a loss on his resume. But I don't know. I think John's great, and I think he would have been great no matter who he fought or what era he fought in. That's kind of how I see John Jones. He got to the UFC a long time ago, and at this point, I guess now he's retired. But up until he retired, he was at the top of the UFC forever. He was a champion forever. His longevity was ridiculous. And listen, the Ciryl Gane fight was a really impressive performance. At this point, a lot of people don't see Ciryl Gane in the same light that they did before the John Jones fight, but still, that was a good, impressive performance from John. Moving up a weight class, not fighting in 3 years, and just submitting Ciryl Gane the way he did so easily. That was impressive. So maybe I'm higher on John than some other guys. I personally still think John's the GOAT, but I know a lot of people I don't know a lot of people, but some people wouldn't agree with me. A fight to make would be the Reyes rematch. Yeah, it would be, but John's at heavyweight now. I don't think Reyes is moving up to heavyweight. So, but theoretically, in an ideal world, it would be. I would agree with that. Any critiques for Dana White? They should hire Connor to do it. Chael Sonnen would be good too. They should hire Connor to do it. Yeah, listen, it's not great. Honestly, listen, initially when Dana was doing those fight announcements, they were fun for two reasons. Because one, he was, exciting. But for two, the fight announcements were fights that we've never heard about before. But at this point, for like the last few fight announcements, we kind of knew all the fights he was going to announce before they happened. Like for this most recent one, when he announced Pereira versus Ankalaev and Merab versus Corey, we already knew those fights were going to happen. So there's no excitement to that. Now, Yuri versus Roundtree, we didn't know about, so that was exciting. But a lot of these fights we already know about. And then outside of that, he announced Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. Again, a fight we already knew that was going to happen. So I think that also takes away from it. We need more fights that we don't know that are going to happen. And also, his low morale and low energy it's not great, but what are you going to do? I think probably for Dan at this point, he's just focused on so many different things that I almost feel like he's checked out to a certain extent of the UFC. He's trying to do boxing. He's trying to do that stupid power slap thing. I don't know anybody who actually likes that power slap thing, but he's still doing it. And I don't know. He's doing other shit to whatever he's doing. That bull riding thing. So he's doing that and whatever else. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? I know that last year he talked about something that he was going to announce later on in the year, or maybe would announce later on in the year, something that nobody would see coming, and we haven't heard anything about it. So I don't know if that was bullshit or if that just didn't come about. I want to see like exciting news come out from Dana, something that we like don't know about or don't see coming. But as of late, it just hasn't been that. MB says, "Rip Joe Rogan." Joe Rogan. What happened with Joe? Who's Joe? What happened with Joe Rogan? You're just saying that, or did something happen? Assuming he's not dead. But oh, he's involved in the case. The island case, I'll say. Oh, okay. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but I saw some stuff about that. There we go. Do you think it's hard to get Arena? Maybe. Maybe. I haven't really thought about it, but you might be onto something. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people hate DC. Do you guys hate DC in chat? I feel like most of you do. I don't know. I'm kind of indifferent on DC, but I get it. People who don't like him, I get it. He kind of tries to be everyone's friend and whatever, but unbelievable. Let's check the good old X. We got anything good here? Probably nothing. No, DC is a legend. Yeah, I know a lot of people hate him. I personally don't hate him. Listen, I think no, I don't care about that at all. So listen, I know a lot of people complain about his commentary that he doesn't really rehearse for any of these fight cards, as he doesn't really know that much sometimes. But I do think on the mic, DC's not that bad as compared to some other guys. He does do a pretty good job at explaining some sequences in the grappling pretty well. I mean, obviously he has a lot of knowledge of grappling, so I think he does that pretty well. And in his fighting days, he put on fun fights. He was a great fighter, and yeah, he's definitely a legend. There was this just came out, I guess, yesterday. I guess I'm a little bit late on this, but WWE is going to be headed to ESPN, which kind of sucks because that might honestly mean that the UFC is going to re-sign with ESPN. Dude, I don't know if you guys have been having this issue, but I've been having this issue with ESPN as of late. It's so annoying where if you're watching a UFC card on ESPN, whenever there's an advertisement, it like pushes your stream back. So a lot of times I don't notice this, but if I'm watching live, so there'll be an advertisement, and then after the ads are done, I'll be like a minute back, a minute behind. It won't be live anymore. And sometimes I don't realize that. And after like a bunch of ads, all of a sudden I'm like 10 minutes behind. And then I get a text from my friend like, holy shit, what a finish or whatever. And then I'm like, I'm not even on that fight. I'm like on the fight behind, or the fight's just about to start. And in reality, it was over. That happens to me all the time. So I personally think the ESPN platform is horrible. I mean, it seems like they have a lot of money. They just paid the NFL to have them on their platform, and obviously the WWE as well. But they're not putting in any money to fix their app. Their app sucks. So I really hope that that the UFC goes to Netflix. But with the WWE going over to ESPN, honestly, maybe that means the UFC will as well. But I'm hoping it doesn't. I'm hoping it doesn't. Respect, DC's a legend. Yeah, he's a legend. He's like, I'll go alongside Chael Sonnen if I don't all over the fighters. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Did you guys see that thing that that Chael said there's 100% chance of Ilia Topuria versus Arman Tsarukyan next? I mean, usually his reports are bullshit, but I would love that, honestly. I mean, I said this a million times. The three fights that could happen for Topuria are Gaethje, Paddy, or Arman. I think for Ilia, the fight that he would want the most is Paddy because they have their beef. Paddy's the biggest star out of the three, and also I think it's an easier fight for Ilia. But I have seen a lot of momentum for Arman maybe getting the next shot versus Ilia. So we'll see. I would personally like to see that fight. I know Chael said it's 100% going to happen, but he doesn't have a great track record, to say the least, with news. What did he say? He said a bunch of BS, but what did he say recently? That John Jones is 100% going to fight Tom Aspinall before he retired. And obviously that didn't come to be. There's been a million reports that that Chael. I don't know if Chael's getting bad sources or he's literally just putting out BS, but regardless, you got to love Chael. He's hilarious. And this is my favorite Chael quote.
I can't quit staring at Connor's dick.
Oh, fuck, wait, sorry.
I can't stop.
1 second. Let me fix this. Let's put it back there. All right, here it is.
I can't quit staring at Connor's dick. I can't stop.
It's my favorite Chael quote. I don't think Justin stands against Ilya. I don't either. I think Gaethje's probably the easiest fight for Topuria. On the feet, Gaethje just way too hittable. And yes, he has a good chin, but he's been knocked out before by Max Holloway. He's been hurt before by Poirier and a bunch of guys. And I think Topuria just hits too hard. I think on the feet, he just pieces up Gaethje and eventually knocks him out. Or even if he wanted to find a takedown against Gaethje, I think he would. Gaethje does have good takedown defense, but still, eventually Ilya will get it, I think. And if he does get on the ground with Gaethje, Gaethje basically has no understanding of jiu-jitsu, and I think he'll get submitted. So I think Gaethje is the easiest fight out of the three for Topuria. Do you think it's actually hard to get a read on Chill? Actually, thanks. And Chill is a legend of Hall of Fame. Yeah, yeah. He kind of, dude. I love watching Chill on the post shows. I don't know if you guys watch the post shows after pay-per-view. I love watching him on the post shows, dude. He just like, I don't even think he believes what he's saying. He just says like random shit. It is hilarious. I mean, it's funny. It's part of his shtick if that's what he's going for, and you gotta love him for it. But it's just so funny to me. He's just saying like random shit because he just has like very obscure takes on certain fights. But yeah, but he's a legend, and yeah. Armor's the man. Petty, I think, is too early. Armin. Yeah, I don't know. I think Armin's the toughest fight for Topuria, but I still think Topuria wins. I think how the fight plays out is I'm sure Armin will find a takedown eventually, and if he does find a takedown, he'll have success. But kind of how I see the fight playing out is even if Topuria does struggle with Armin a little bit, as the fight does progress, I think he's going to do a good job at stopping takedowns, cutting off the cage, and force Armin into boxing situations, essentially. And if he is able to do that, I think he catches Armin. Armin doesn't have a great chin. His striking is solid. He's explosive. He does hit hard. But his striking is nowhere near Ilia Topuria's. And if Topuria cuts off the cage effectively, puts Armin alongside the cage, and just starts putting combinations together, I think he catches Armin. And as I said, Armin's chin's not great. So it only takes one against him. And I think he knocks him out. And then against Patty, I think Ilya wins as well. If Patty can get on top, he'll have success, and I think Ilya will be in real trouble. I think Patty has really good jiu-jitsu, like legitimately really good, but his wrestling's not great, and on the feet, he's also not great. So how I think that fight plays out is I think Patty doesn't even take down Ilya at all. I think Ilya cuts off the cage, forces Patty into a boxing situation, and he lands a big shot. Patty's chin has shown to be really good, so maybe Patty can eat a couple shots, but eventually that right hand is just too powerful. Eventually, Topuria will land a clean shot and knock out Patty. That's how I see that fight going. Yes, Patty's much, much bigger than Topuria is, but I don't think that's going to matter, personally. The only way that would matter is if Patty gets a takedown, which I think is unlikely. His wrestling's not that great. And Topuria was able to stop Charles Oliveira's takedown and even reverse it. And Charles is a great wrestler, and he's big. But yeah, look on yeah, him messing up names is hilarious. Yeah, his it was unfortunate, honestly, for Chael. He put on a really good performance versus Silva. Was on his way to a victory, but just got triangled. What can you do? But yeah, as I said, he kind of just like spews like BS, for a lack of a better word or term or whatever. But what are you gonna do? Oh, man, chat, I'm fucking starving, bro. I was just playing basketball for a little bit before I hopped on stream, and I didn't eat dinner yet, so I'm gonna figure it out. I'm not hopping off stream yet, but what should I get, boys? I know this is kind of off topic, but what should I eat? Should I get Mexican again? Ah, man. Starving. Maybe I will. My bad, boys. My bad. But yeah, Chael Sonnen is an interesting character to say the least. Do you guys watch Chael's videos? They're funny. I don't watch them too often. I kind of just occasionally watch one, and it's usually pretty funny. But I don't watch it too much. Ooh, Dave's Hot Chicken. Actually, actually never had it, but I see ads about it all the time. I don't know if it's near me. Is there a Dave's Hot Chicken near me? Let's see. Oh yeah, there is actually. Oh, this looks fire, bro. What is it, like chicken sandwiches and whatnot? Yeah, this looks fire. Ooh, maybe I'll get this. All right, anyways. I can't look at food. I'm too hungry right now. But anyways. Yeah, I don't really watch that many chill videos. But let's see. Do we have any new news? Anything new, boys? This week has been kind of slow. With this fight week, not too much excitement around it. And honestly, in terms of news, there's honestly been nothing. Dricus, I mean, if this is the news, it's really a slow week. Dricus says he was excited to watch Bilal lose. All right. Chael has good humor. Yes, he does. Thoughts on Chael's advice to Colby? What was his advice? I actually don't remember. Morgan Charrier will not be fighting at UFC Paris. That kind of sucks. He's a fun fighter, but all right, whatever. That Paris card, I think it's solid. The main and co-main event are going to be fun, but the rest of the card we'll see. Amovov and Kyle Bahali will be great. BSD and Rufy is going to be really, really fun. By the way, who do you guys have for BSD Rufy? I lean Rufy for sure. I think BSD is very aggressive, and it kind of leads him into Rufy's style, where he can find a big counter shot. But the one thing that I will say is BSD is an elite grappler, in my opinion. And I know he lost to Dustin and also Moicano, but I think he's an elite grappler. And I think if you can get a hold of Rufy, he can find takedowns and potentially gas out Rufy. We have seen Rufy gas out before. So if BSD is able to grapple, honestly, grapple fuck Rufy, for lack of a better term, I do think he can have success and possibly gas out Rufy. But as I said, if I had to predict, I'm going with Rufy. I definitely lean with him. What is the more possibility of potentially moving up to bantamweight? I think 0. Essentially 0. I talked about it before. Like, that's the fight that I really want to see. I think there's some guys like Sean O'Malley that's like a casual sort of fight, a fight that a lot of casuals will watch. But I think Pantoja versus Merab that's like a hardcore delight. That's an amazing fight. Honestly, I think Pantoja is so dominant. The real biggest threat to him would be Merab. And Merab's so dominant at 135. The real biggest threat to him will be Pantoja. Both of these guys are elite grapplers. I don't think anybody can really compete with them in their respective weight classes. The only guys that could are probably each other. So I would love to see that fight, but I think it's essentially a 0% chance. I think Merab would be open to fighting Pantoja if he moves up, but Pantoja doesn't seem like he's interested at all in fighting or moving up and fighting Merab. I talked about this before. I think how Pantoja sees greatness is he wants to get 1 million title defenses, similar to what Demetrius Johnson was able to do. Other guys like Topuria want to get as many belts as possible and fight the biggest names. But for Pantoja, I think he just wants to get as many title defenses as he can. So I don't think he has much interest in moving up. Really any interest, honestly. I mean, the way Merab beat him out, champion in the first place. I don't know. Listen, I think if O'Malley and Aljamain Sterling ever fought again, I think Aljo beats him. I kind of think it was just like the perfect scenario where Aljo overextended and Sean was able to land a perfect counter shot. I mean, listen, great counter shot from Sean O'Malley, great win for him. And even the fight before that, he put on a great performance versus Peter Yan. A lot of people thought Yan won the fight, but regardless, it was a good performance. Sean had a lot of success, but what was I going to say? But yeah, I mean, listen, it does seem like Sean was pushed to the title a little bit, and it does seem like Merab and Sean are in completely different atmospheres when it comes to their skill set. Merab is just so much better than Sean. But yeah. 1 second, boys. I just gotta get a. Yeah, I don't have anything in here. I gotta get a water. I'm just 1 second. I'll be right back. Chat. Do you miss me, boys? I was fucking dying, bro. What do you got, chat? What's more likely for Alex if you lose? Yeah, I think move up. I know he's talked about moving down, but I don't really think Pereira could make that weight at this point. Especially, I don't know if you guys saw that video that he posted not too long ago, but I don't remember the exact number. But Pereira was on the scale and he weighed like 240 something, which is heavyweight. So I don't think he can make 185 if he's walking around at 240 something. I don't know if that's humanly possible. So yeah, I don't think he could physically cut down to 185 anymore, but I think he may go up to heavyweight. We'll see. I think there's an argument to be made that he moves up to heavyweight regardless if he wins or loses, but we'll see. Did you see the clip of Choson talking about Connor? That's solid. Are you talking about this?
Quit staring at Connor's dick. I can't stop.
I'm talking about that. That the Chill's bit about Connor, talking about Connor is the funniest thing, the funniest bit in MMA right now. Or I guess at this point it's a little bit old, but that's hilarious. Bang MMA, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. I'll be pissed if Alex wins. It's just gonna be rematches first. Yeah, I mean, honestly, what I think if he wins, he's gonna move up. Yeah, honestly, that would be pretty bad for the weight class if Alex wins because yeah, he already beat both Khalil and Yuri, and Yuri's not getting he can't. I don't think he's getting a third fight, especially after getting finished twice and how dominant the second fight was. So I think for Alex, there's honestly not. If he wins against Ankalaev, I don't think there's much left for him at that weight class. So I think he moves up to heavyweight. Wins or loss, I think I agree with you. I agree. He'll probably move up. And also, as I was talking about before, there was a clip of him weighing like 240, whatever, walking around. So if he's weighing, that much, he could definitely make heavyweight. It's kind of weird though, because initially when he was at 185, obviously he's huge for 185, but when he's at 185, he would always post those clips of him showing how much he walks around at, and it was like ridiculously high weight for 185. Then he moved up to light heavyweight, and now it seems like he's very big for light heavyweight. And then I wouldn't be surprised if he moves up to heavyweight and he walks around at like 270 or something ridiculous. It seems like every time he moves up in weight, he just gets bigger and bigger. But he's not fat. It's not like he's fat. He's just putting on more muscle, and I don't know. He's getting bigger. I don't know. It's just kind of funny to see that for Alex. But yeah. Freaking Alex P. We'll see though. Who do you guys think is gonna win that fight? Do you think you think Alex wins? Do you think he makes the adjustments, or do you think Ankalaev just beats him again? I think probably Ankalaev beats him. I think he's kind of a tough style for Alex. He's a counter striker. Ankalaev is, and it's just very defensively sound. So I think it's kind of a tough fight for Alex. But I wouldn't be shocked if Alex made some adjustments and got the win. But we'll see. Speaking of walking around weight, Dricus says he walks around at around 225 or 230. That's insane, bro. It's fucking insane. It's huge. I talked about this a little bit before, but it seems like a common trend. Some of the best guys in these weight classes are just guys that are really good at cutting weight. And Dricus is that. I mean, listen, Dricus is skilled too. I'm not saying he's not. And I'm a huge Dricus fan. It's just he's so much bigger than everybody else who's able to get away with a lot of these things that most guys wouldn't be able to get away with. What are your thoughts on the beef between Ilya and JDM? And who's the real BMF? I think it's like a fake beef, personally. It's just like whatever. The real BMF is probably Ilya. I mean, he beat Max when he was the BMF, but you know, whatever. I'm a fan of both guys. I also think the Yuri matches up perfectly. I agree. I actually completely agree with that. It's a good statement. I think Yuri loses to Alex Pereira out of 10 times. I think he loses to him like 8, maybe 9. Just because I don't think that wild style is that effective against Alex. Alex hits very, very hard, as we've seen in both of their fights. And also, he's kind of just seen all the wonkiness of Yuri. The first time they fought, I thought that was Yuri's best chance of winning. But even then, I thought Alex would win based off leg kicks and just being more technical. But especially after Pereira fought Yuri before, in the second fight, he just knew his tendencies and was able to honestly dominate Yuri before he found the finish. And then in the second round, he eventually found the finish. So Pereira beats Yuri 9 times out of 10, I think. And for Unk Alive, I do agree with you that Yuri is actually a tough fight for Unk. That's kind of why MMA math is so weird, because I could see Pereira losing again to Unk Alive, but I could see Yuri beating Unk Alive, which is a guy that Pereira beat twice. So I agree with you, though. Artie, what's going on, brother? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the page at 2:30. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. You know, that's another great point, honestly. I talked about this before. I think I made a video on it as well. Check it out if you want a more in-depth breakdown. But I think Dricus is going to win the fight, kind of because I think he's going to be able to survive round 1, and I think Khamzat's going to get gassed. But this is also a good point. He probably is going to be walking around at 230 or something like ridiculous. And Khamzat is putting on more weight. He is like a decent size for the weight class, but he's not that big. Like Dricus is going to be a decent amount bigger and certainly a lot more muscular than Khamzat is. So I think that could make it more difficult for Khamzat to have success in the grappling. And even if he is successful in the first round, I think he's going to need to work harder to get takedowns and to get advantageous positions. So I think that's a good point, actually. The weight difference is probably going to be pretty significant. So, yeah. We'll see. I'm excited for that one. I'm really excited. Tickets are on sale for Pereira and Uncle Live. And you guys going to that fight? Or is it in Vegas? I'm not personally going. Yeah, it's in Vegas. But we'll see. I think it's an exciting fight because Khamzat is an absolute freaking agent. Yeah, it's going to be great. It's going to be great. Both of these guys put on really fun and exciting performances. They're also both undefeated in the UFC. Khamzat is undefeated in general. Dricus is undefeated in the UFC. And they're two of the best guys in the weight class. So it's a really good fight. And it's also going to be a really fun fight, I think. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm really, really excited for this fight. I just can't wait to get to it. But we shall see. But what do we got? After 319, I talked about this before, but we have like a really good stretch for us in the fall. Because after 319, we have the week after that, we have UFC Shanghai with Johnny Walker, Zhang Yang, Brian Ortega, and Aljamain Sterling, Sergey Pavlovich, Waldo Cortez Acosta, Kevin Borjas, and Sumar Darji. That's even a fun one. Loner Kavanaugh versus Charles Johnson is a great fight. There's a lot of great fights in that one. And then the week after that, we have UFC Paris, Amavov Caio Bahayo, and BSD and Rufi, which will be fun. Then you have UFC Noche, which kind of sucks, but the main event's good. Then you have Perth. Then you have 320. Then you have Umar and Mario Batista as the main event for the Canada Fight Night card. Then you have 321. There's so many good fights back to back to back to back to back. So we're in store for a good one, a good couple of months for sure. DDP's undefeated. No, he's not undefeated, but he's undefeated in the UFC. I think he has 2 losses or 1. I think it's 2 on his record, but it wasn't in the UFC. Thank you for streaming. Thanks for being here, 305. I appreciate you constantly being here. Thanks so much. Who wins, Sterling or Ortega? I think Sterling wins the fight. It'll be a really good one. I think it's a sneaky good fight. But the reason why I think Sterling is going to win is, honestly, I kind of think he has the advantage in both areas. He's not an amazing striker, and he kind of has like a weird style. That's why they call him the Funk Master. But I think on the feet, he's just going to be smarter than Ortega. He's going to skirt alongside the cage, land a lot of leg kicks. And even in the grappling, Ortega does have great grappling, but I think Sterling is a much better wrestler than Ortega is. And even though Ortega has great jiu-jitsu, I think Sterling is just too good of a grappler to get caught by some sort of triangle. I think on the ground, for the most part, he's going to be on top. And based upon that, I think he'll have a lot of success. So I think Sterling wins by decision. I wouldn't be totally shocked if he found a submission, but most likely Sterling by decision would be my prediction. How do you think Tyra versus Mukaev? Ooh, that's interesting. I'm personally not that high on Mukaev. He's a good fighter. He's a good grappler. And he's very, very fast. But I think Tyra probably wins that fight, especially if Mukaev try to grapple Tyra on the ground. I think Tyra would have some success. His jiu-jitsu was elite, and also I think he'll probably be pretty hard to take down anyway. But I think Tyra wins that fight. I think he finds a submission on Mukaev. Submission or maybe even a TKO. One of the two. More likely submission. In your opinion, who's the best trash talker in the UFC? Well, Conor, if you consider him to be in the UFC, he's definitely the best ever, I think. But current guys, not including Conor, I think Dricus is great. Dricus has like a very different sort of trash talk where it's not the same. Like, he doesn't have like many like funny one-liners, but what he does do very effectively is he really gets in his opponent's head. We saw it with Strickland and Izzy back to back. He made both guys cry. So I think in terms of effectiveness, Dricus is the best right now, at least. But what are some other good guys? I don't know. Honestly, there's not that many great trash talkers in the UFC right now. Let's see. What do we got? Pantoja, no. Marab, no. Volkanovski, no. Taporia, not really. JDM, no. Dricus, yes, I said. Magomed, yes. And Tom, yes. In terms of the champions, there's only one good trash talker in Dricus. And in terms of contenders, let's look through this list, see if anybody's good. Honestly, Bilal is not a bad trash talker, so maybe him. Who else? Colby's good, but I think his shtick is getting a little bit old at this point, considering he's had a bunch of losses in a row. And also he's looked the way he's looked as of late. But if he was in his prime, he's a good trash talker. Who else? Maybe you could say Patty. I don't really think so, but maybe you can say Patty. Yeah, honestly, there's really not a lot of guys. There's really not. Unless I'm forgetting about somebody obvious. But yeah. Do you think other UFC fighters are jealous of Dustin's best ever? Well, yeah. Yeah, probably. I'm just surprised. That was pretty cute, by the way, from his daughter. Juliana Penny. Oh, that's a good one, actually. That is a good one. And welcome to stream, by the way, David. Great question, DDP. Yeah, I agree. I think DDP's got to be the number one, right? Am I forgetting about someone obvious? Of course, not including Conor. Am I forgetting about someone obvious? I don't think so. I think DDP's got to be one. And I don't think number 2 is even close. Good trash talker. Yeah, she's good. She's good. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here we go. We were actually talking about this before. This is kind of funny. I'll show you guys. Dricus just said He does not want to move up to light heavyweight. I kind of thought he wouldn't. He can. He's huge for middleweight, but I kind of thought he wouldn't move up to light heavyweight. Most of his advantage is actually at middleweight because he's so much bigger than everybody else. But also, there's probably a lot of matchups for him at that weight class. So maybe he has some interest in staying there. Because if he beats Khamzat, then he can fight the winner of Bahayo and Imavov. So that'll be a new fight for him. I think he beats both. Then he can fight RDR potentially, which will be an interesting fight. Outside of those fights, honestly, there's not much. But we'll see. Maybe there'll be more contenders that come up. But yeah, I'm not surprised about him saying he wants to stay. TDP is taking guts more deep. Yeah, that's usually what he's looking for, as opposed to a good trash talker that's also really funny. But yeah, Masvidal was sharp as well. That was a good one. Yeah, he was sharp. They did. Cared. I completely agree with you. Yeah, a lot of these cards kind of suck now. Like the press conferences used to be fun because there's a lot of trash talking. There's a lot of excitement to it. But at this point, we get BS questions. Just oh, you're moving up a weight class. How do you feel? Or you're fighting for the belt. How do you feel? Or this guy said you're going to lose. What do you think about that? Like dumbass questions. And also, nobody ever trash talks anymore. Sometimes you get guys that don't speak English, so it's harder, obviously, if that's the case. But even when guys are both speak English, there's really not that much trash talk anymore. So it is unfortunate. It does kind of make these press conferences less fun, but that's kind of what we have at this point. So whatever. DDP's like a sharp high school play. Honestly, yeah, probably. Chicago main card's a banger. I agree. I think on paper it's probably the best card of the year. Main card of the year. Probably entire card of the year, but especially the main card. Dricus Khamzat is the best main event of the year, I think. Lerone Murphy Pico is amazing. Jeff Neal versus Protez is going to be so fun. Cannonier MVP will be actually, that honestly might not be fun, but we'll see how that pans out. And then Kai Sakura, Tim Elliott's going to be fun. So yeah. 1 second. Actually, 1 second, boys. I gotta pick up my food. 1 second. Sorry. I'm not finished. What's going on, chat? But yeah, Chicago main card is legit, bro. What do you think about fighters don't trust? Oh, why? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I feel like they would even have more incentive to trash talk now with social media being as big as it is. And honestly, like the big reason why Connor's was the biggest star ever was because of his trash talk, alongside with his fighting style and him predicting fights and whatever. But his trash talk was a huge part of it. Guys just don't trash talk anymore. I don't know. I don't know the reason why. Someone saying they don't want to put on trash talks. Maybe that's it. But I don't know. I think for the most part, I'm sure there's some guys like that, but for the most part, I would say UFC fighters don't really go into fights thinking like, oh, I may lose. They usually go into fights thinking, I'm definitely going to win this fight. But it's possible. Maybe certain guys think like that. That's why I miss Conor for his trash. Yeah, his trash talk was elite. It kind of sucked, honestly, seeing him against Dustin Poirier where the third time, where Poirier was kind of getting the better of Conor. That was weird. That was weird to say, because Poirier is not really known to be much of a trash talker, and Conor was probably the best ever. So that was weird. But prime Conor trash talk was insane. MVP is always going to be fun. Yeah, I mean MVP himself is fun. I just think Jared Cannonier is not going to have a lot of success fighting at range against MVP. So I think how the fight's going to play out is he's going to be in the clinch for the majority of the fight, landing knees and elbows. And I mean, that sort of fight I don't think will be very fun, but we'll see. Maybe MVP can get off the cage and stop takedowns, but we'll see. He knew how to promote fights. Yeah, he did. He still knows how to promote fights with bare knuckle when he's snorting up and promoting fights. It's hilarious. I really wish, honestly, because I talked about this before, I kind of feel like Dan has checked out to a certain extent. And I know Conor really wanted ownership position in the UFC. I think this is a perfect opportunity. I really wish when Conor's officially retired, which may be already, if not, maybe he fights at the White House card. But then after that, he'll be done. But whenever he's officially done, I think the UFC should sign this guy and make him do press conferences. He's very, very good at that. He's hilarious, and I think he'll add he'll make the press conferences a lot more spicy and fun. So I think the UFC should do that, but I don't know if they will. The way he beat Jose Aldo with his words before the fight was, yeah, you're right. That was insane. That was probably his best performance ever, like, trash talk wise. Also, the first Dustin fight, he really got into Dustin's head, and he was able to finish him in part due to that. There's been a million examples of it. The Khabib thing, he really went at Khabib, but it didn't really affect Khabib, and he was able to win the fight. But yeah, Conor's trash talk is unmatched. Prime Conor. My theory is they just yeah, that's true. That's true. Honestly, yeah, you're probably right. I mean, for the most part, there's not that many trash talkers. It was really just Conor and I guess Chill, Colby. But I guess for the most part, you're probably right. But yeah, but that trash talking really takes your stardom to the next level. If you're really good and you can talk trash like effectively, oh man, you'll really take it to the next level. So maybe turn the younger or sisters on working. Yeah, that's probably true. Conor's comebacks were quick. Yeah, they were quick. They were very snappy. The who the fuck is even that or whatever it was, that was very quick. And there's a million examples of other things as well. Let's do fight announcements too. Oh, a Conor fight that would be good. Yeah, I would like that. He would add so much energy to it. He's great at that. Whenever he officially retires, as I said, probably ready. He should do fight announcements and he should do press conferences. Honestly, I mean, listen, Bruce Buffer's going to do it for a while. He would you guys hate? Conor's not going to do this, but would you guys mind Conor McGregor announcing fights? That'd be so funny. Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of energy, so might be good. I never knew I would ask this. Honestly, I think he beats Michael Chandler. I really think he does. I think Chandler is washed at this point, and even besides being washed, I think his style honestly favors Conor a lot, where Chandler's just going to be running into shots. He had a lot of success against Gaethje, against Dustin, and against Charles, but the reason why he lost all those fights and got finished in 2 of the 3 of those fights was because he's just too aggressive. He runs into so many different shots, and I think for Conor, even though he's been out of the game for so long, I think he'll be able to find a big counter left hand and finish Michael Chandler. I really think he beats him. If Chandler was smart, he would grapple Conor, and that's a possible path to victory for him there. But I don't think he will. And on top of that, as I said, I think Chandler's probably washed at this point. So I don't know. That's kind of how I see the fight going. But yeah. Is Charles washed? No, I don't think so. He takes a lot of damage, so that is something that you need to worry about. But is he washed? I don't think so. I thought he honestly was looking really good against Michael Chandler. I know I just said Michael Chandler was washed, but I thought he looked really good in the Chandler fight. Yeah, I thought he showed different skills. He showed an ability to fight a slower pace 5-round fight. He showed an ability just to out wrestle his opponent, who, for as low IQ as you want to say Michael Chandler is, fight IQ, he is a really good wrestler and a really good grappler. So the fact that Charles was able to, out grapple him the way he did, I thought was pretty impressive. And yes, he got knocked out by Ilya, but Ilya's just really good, in my opinion. David thinks Charles is done. I mean, we'll see. He takes a lot of damage, but I think in terms of his skill, like, it's still there, I think, with his grappling and with his striking, but we'll see. I mean, with all that being said, a potential matchup we could see is between him and Max Holloway, and I think Max is probably looking the best he's ever had, and I think Max probably beats him. But I still think there are a lot of winnable fights for Charles. Like, would I be shocked if Charles beat Dan Hooker? I wouldn't. Would I be shocked if he beat Gamrot? I actually would favor Charles over Gamrot. Would he beat Dariush? You already beat him. I think he beats him again. Does he beat Patty? I think Charles does beat Patty. I do. I really do think so. So I don't know. Is he going to be a champion? Probably not. But I don't think he's done. I think there's still high level fights you could win. Made so much money. All the time. Charles. Oh, by the way, who even told me this? I'm sorry, I forgot who said this, but whoever said best underdogs, Charles Oliveira might be the number one guy. He's been an underdog in like all of his fights against against Gaethje, Dustin, and against Chandler, I believe as well. He won all of them. So yeah, if you watch that Charles run to the belt, and when he got the belt, and when he was defending the belt, that was an incredible run. And betting wise, it was amazing as well. Charles has been a big fan favorite for a long time, I think. Listen, I don't think Charles is going to get a title shot anyway, unfortunately. I'm a huge Charles fan, but I don't think he gets a title shot anyway. But if Topuria is champion, he's definitely not going to get a title shot. At least for a while. Like, he would have to make it so obvious. Like, he would have to get like 2 or 3 wins before he fights Ilya. But I talked about this before. I think what Ilya is going to do is he's going to beat whoever he fights next, and then he's going to move up to welterweight. So he's not going to be a champ for that long. So maybe that opens the door a little bit for Charles to get another title shot. But I don't know. Even then, if it was Arman versus Charles, that would be nice. Arman versus Charles for the interim belt, that would be fun. Even in that fight, I don't know. Probably Arman wins, but it's a close one. GM3, Great Dog 2. We're not the same. Yeah. He's a good one. He's fighting this next weekend. Yeah, next weekend versus Olajaychuk. The Gerald Mearshark round 2-3 props are always legit. In the first round, he's half asleep. He usually gets dropped or finished in the first round. But if he can survive round 1 against, unless he's fighting an amazing fighter, but if he can survive round 1, a lot of times he has success in the grappling and finds a submission round 2 or 3. So those props are always live. And in this fight against Olajaychuk, I do think Mearshark has a chance to do that. So I'll probably be taking round 2-3 props for him. Sean Brady needs to be more active. He hasn't fought forever. When did he fight Leon? That was a while ago, man. How does it sort out? So we have Islam kind of threw a wrench into it because he's fighting for the belt, obviously. So we have JDM Islam next. Honestly, whoever wins that, whatever. Then I think probably, but what I would like to see is Bilal versus Usman next. Then I would like to see Sean Brady versus who did he just call out? He called out somebody. Ian Gary, I think he called out. Yeah. So you could do that. I'd probably like to see Sean Brady versus Shavkat. That would be fun. Have those two fight each other. Then I would like to see Leon Edwards fight Michael Morales. I think that fight makes all the sense in the world. And then for Ian Gary, I guess he's kind of left out in this scenario. But for Ian Gary, I guess he would have to wait or fight somebody below him in that scenario. Maybe you put together Ian Gary versus Buckley again. You put that fight back together. Maybe you could do that. Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people hate. That's really going. I guess a lot of times. Yeah. You're right. This is his 3rd title shot, I believe. He lost the other 2. I think he'll lose this again, but there's really no other options outside of Gane. I mean, people thought Volkov won the fight against Gane. Me too. I thought he did as well. And if Volkov beat Gane officially, then they would have given it to Volkov. But I mean, Tom already beat Volkov. I don't think we're really seeing anything new there. So at this point, considering the results outside of Gane, there's really nobody else you could have given it to. The only other guy that I can see that may be a contender would be Jailton Almeida, but he's fighting Volkov. We'll see. I kind of think Jailton may win, and if he does, then what's it called? Then he'll fight Tom. But you're right. At this current moment, there's no other fight they could have made. unless they sign Francis. I know I keep saying it. Francis versus Tom is the fight. Leon Edwards, Tom is just like boring. Yeah, he is. His fights were boring. But I think the most irritating thing about Leon Edwards is he just quit. I felt so many different times. If you look back at the Sean Brady, this is a perfect example of this. It's happened in honestly all of his fights as well, all of his fights that he's lost. But and even in the Usman fight, the head kick Usman fight, even that fight, he kind of looked like he was quitting. But if you look specifically back to the Sean Brady fight versus Leon, after the first round, Leon lost the first round. All right, but whatever, move on, try to win the second round, try to find a finish potentially, and try to win the fight. But after losing that first round, Leon just looked completely defeated on the stool. And going forward from there, it just got continuously worse. The fact that this guy continuously quits in fights, I mean, I hate to say it, but it's accurate. It's just so irritating to me. I think in terms of his skill, he's one of the better fighters at that weight class. He's very skilled, but he just consistently quits. And if he's not dominating his opponent, it's probably not going to go that well for him, unfortunately. Michael Morales next fight will be very revealing, but they feed him Buckley. I could see that. I'm personally a guy who's really high in Morales. I think he's going to be a champion before his career is all said and done. Reason being, well, his striking is solid, but it's not the best in the world. He's not the most technical in the world. The reason why I think he's going to be a champion is he's bigger than everybody at that weight class. He hits ridiculously hard. He's longer than everybody at that weight class. And even in terms of the grappling, we've seen him get taken down before, but for the most part, he does have really good takedown defense. And when he does get taken down, he just gets right back up. So I just think he's so much more physical than everybody else at that weight class that it's just such a big advantage for him. And I talk about it all the time. Physicality is super, super important. So we'll see. I guess we'll see how Morales fares up against some other guys. But I personally think he's just going to beat everybody and become a champion. That's how I see it. Him versus Islam would be such a weird timeline, but maybe we'll see that. That's what Shell said. If Alex moves up to the division when it comes to March thing. I guess so. I mean, it is more interesting. Actually, not I guess so. 100%. 100% that if Alex moves up to heavyweight, it's a more interesting fight than Ciryl Gane. I just think Tom beats him anyway. You think he's Tom's toughest fight? Maybe the guys that are in the weight class right now, maybe. But I think Tom still beats him. 3-5. Oh, I apologize that I forgot that, but thanks 3-5 for that. Leon wasn't necessarily a consistent underdog, but the first Usman. Yeah, that Usman performance was great. I don't think the line was that wide on that fight. Leon was maybe like a plus 200, something like that, which obviously is a decent dog, but yeah, Leon is probably a good one as well. But yeah, no, that is a good video idea though. 3-5. I appreciate that. But yeah. But what do we got? Anything? Here we go. All right. Does John Jones beat Tom Aspinall? No, I don't think so. I think in his prime, maybe. But at this point, he's just a little bit older. He hasn't fought in forever. And I thought in his last fight, he looked pretty slow on the feet. He looked better in his fight versus Stipe than he did against Gane. But even then, I think he's just a little bit slow. And Tom's like ridiculously fast. So I think Tom gives him trouble. But John Jones will have the best game plan possible against Tom as compared to anybody else. So that'll be good. But anyways, boys, I hate to cut this off. This has been a great stream, but we've been streaming for about 2 hours. I think I'm going to hop off at this point. I'm just starving. I will be back tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern time. We'll be streaming then again. But I appreciate everybody for being here. Thanks so much. Thanks for the super chats as well and the sticker before. Miller, I don't think he's in here at this point, but I appreciate that. And yeah. When's the next stream? It's tomorrow. I stream every day during the week. So I'll be here tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern time. Every day during the week, I do that as well. And on weekends, I stream on Sundays at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll be there. And also, I guess I'll shout this out again. I will be doing a watch along for this upcoming card on Saturday, Delete and Fluffy. So if you guys are interested in that, join the stream and we'll chat it up. But yeah, David, good stuff. Thanks for being here, David. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you boys. Peace out, 305. I'll see you boys tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern. And check out the video, by the way, that I posted today, the Conor McGregor video, if you are interested. Anyways, peace out, boys.